my whole life was leading to every single moment of your life has a purpose, is perfect. We've, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot actually, because a lot of people say born awake, that born awake thing. And
Mm.
you're born awake, absolutely born awake, pure, whole, balanced, everything. But it's awareness we're gaining. And just going through life as it was, as it were, you know, without any influence, our awareness would just expand with our life.
Mm.
And we just
Well,
know and feel a full knowing of more and more and more and more and more. What we lost is that knowing, really. And that's what we're experiencing bit by bit. Knowing, realizing. It's wonderful. That's life.
mm.
But when you're forced to do something, so we all know it anyway. We just have to express it in this world. We're learning from this world to express that knowing. We know it, so we feel it.
Mm.
So when you're forced to do something wrong or against that feeling, or you see something that's against that feeling where you know to be correct and right, and what is this you're telling me? What? Life's like this? Life's hard? Wait, what? Does that make any sense? No. Life's simple. Simple. Absolutely simple. Perfect. Oh, no, no, no. Life's hard, this, that. And we start compromising on that. Then we're putting ourselves to sleep. We're not expanding with that awareness. We've stopped and we've gone the other way. We're putting ourselves to sleep,
Mm.
right? So it's a flow. So the more every little compromise that you do, every little feeling, or they give you a belief, you're made to write this down. This is the answer. You have to trust, and it's like, oh, but it's not. But I just have to do it, and we're compromising, right? And for building those beliefs, which are putting us to sleep.
Yeah.
And so like when I got to 30, I was, I'd uncovered so much stuff which were lies anyway, because everything I was learning was how to read people. The difference between me and someone else. I'm like, because at the start I thought everyone was the same, thought like me, felt like me, and I'm like, wait, they don't. What's going on here? And I had to work out the differences and similarities between us, and that was the biggest journey for me. Was all everything was doing that to understand myself. So it was that journey within, but I wasn't connecting it. I was just uncovering horrible stuff in like everything I looked through. Everything I looked into was wait, it's all wrong here. I know it to be wrong to start with as well. So I am looking. There's more here. There's a surface, but there's more here. And I had to delve into everything to actually understand it, because I was teaching myself the entire way too. So, I did university or whatever, but it was just physical knowledge of equipment and that. It was technical theatre. So it was very helpful for me. And I was studying, it was in an acting school. So I was studying acting and how people fake it in the world. They're not themselves. They've created this character that's based on everything that's
Yeah.
been given to them.
Yeah.
But that laziness is learnt,
Mm.
you know. I mean, that's the program, and that's how hard it is. People just want, they give it away. You get to that point where that's all you're doing.
Giving it
You're
away.
giving it all away.
And I mean,
So
that's
no trust in yourself. You've given it away to everyone else,
yeah.
right?
You let them come in and give you their thoughts. And I mean, is that what, being awake is? That you're just
Awareness.
stubborn, maybe to, you just don't believe what other people will tell you. I mean, that seems to be what it is. I mean, I
That's
think it's
that's what I held on to. That's what was still there.
More unknowing,
Diminished or whatnot, it was still there.
Hmm.
And that's what I had to grow back at, that questioning again. But the depression, like those 3 years where I just went down and down and down, it all started with the bloody moon as well.
With the moon.
Yeah. I'd gone through, I knew the money system was shit. I knew, actually, 9/11 was funny. I was at university and I was woken up by my flatmate. Plane hit tower. It's like, oh, man, I don't want to watch a shit movie. And went back to sleep.
Oh, really? Well, at
Woke
least
up
you
and said,
thought it was a
no, it's
movie.
real. It's a shit movie. I went to sleep. When I woke up, it was a shit movie. And that's what I took it as. And I was stunned. Everyone believed in the movie. Right? Because I knew it was wrong completely from the start because I had that moment. I was going through, sorry, I was going through waking up. I was in that state. And that is a state of knowing as well. So you just know things. And I just said what it was too. Hilarious.
Yeah.
But then it was really getting into the moon and the moon landings, really, because I was like, what the fuck is this moon? What is this? Because it's really not what they tell me. I know it's something different. I don't know what the hell that thing is. So I was looking into that. And I remember I was pouring through so much of the footage and everything from what we've got, because they lost everything from the moon landings and everything. So I was going through all of that, and it was literally not wanting to believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't destroy my
Not
world.
wanting to know the truth. And that's what I was pushing aside. But I went to sleep. It was like I was in the middle of it, just pouring through photos, looking for anything I could find that would cement this for me and go, that none of this is real. And fell asleep at the computer in front of it, woke up, and then looked at the photos. I'm like, because the veil had lifted. Like, I just saw a set. I'm an idiot. I do theatre, entertainment. I know what sets look. I do film. I've done it all. I know exactly what I'm looking at, and I could see all of these things that I missed that proved it for me. It was like all of this evidence just popped out for me, and it was literally overnight. It was in and out of that sleep too, coming into that theta state and looking at it with new eyes. And I just saw it was all completely fake, everything. And I could see a million things that people have missed in those photos and stuff like this. It was just all clear. I was just seeing. And that was really the point, that kind of the mental point, that was the breaking down of myself.
And that's, like you say, that's a place that it seems most people don't want to go. It's like that they hit a point, and especially people, with letters behind their name, shall we say, who have spent their lives, like gaining certain knowledge and becoming, oh yes, I'm the expert. And they have a lot to lose. They build up this facade,
that big
this
ladder, and
character.
it's a long way to start again.
Yeah. And they just won't change. But I mean, that's what, it's like, I think courage is the big thing, isn't it? It's either courage to question the narrative, courage to say you were wrong, courage to accept that, oh my God, even I thought this world was good and even the good stuff's crap, but until you're in the truth, you can't actually see that there is a lot, it's a lot better on the other side. The grass really is greener. You've just got to get up.
Well, that's in the separating, you finding yourself and saying, knowing that you are not that, all this system and what you've become, and all, I am not this. Now what the fuck am I?
I mean,
because you are literally jumping into the void, getting rid of everything you've built your entire life on, which is you. That's the big twist point when you change yourself. But we are stopping ourselves from doing that. So that's the pain. Like, it's ignoring pain. We're taught to ignore. So we get that wrong feeling. No, ignore that. Ignore.
Yeah, the gut feeling. Yeah.
Everyone's ignoring that.
Yeah.
That's the ignorance, really. And what's the great work is to sit there and look at that. Yeah. Look at that pain. It's like yogi sitting there in a position. What the hell are they doing? You know, what is all this stuff they're doing? So you're sitting there and going through the body and tensing muscles and releasing muscles and becoming aware of our pain. Where's our pain? I'm sitting here and there's pain there. So your awareness goes on to it and you can clear the pain. You can go into that, tense it, relax it, biofeedback and know that pain, and you know it. It's gone now. You move on to the next pain and the next pain and there's layers and layers and layers of these pains that we've ignored, pushed them in our body somewhere as well. Any toxic thought or whatever is now a pain in our body somewhere. It's represented on all levels here, you know, and there's a black dark spot in our field representative to that as well, and a line on our face. all of it. So in any way, and in our brain too, you know, that's there, but there's also stuff going on in our brain, which is imbalancing our brain as well. So it's all this imbalance, and what we're doing is getting rid of all of those things, but it's really looking into pain. It's like that, you know, but it's an exploration. It's a discovery. It does not have, it is not necessary to think of it as negative and horrible. No, it's a discovery, and it's at your own pace where you're releasing and gaining energy and awareness. You now have space for more awareness, just knowledge, and where you are as you're going through life and your awareness is building. That's back on track. That's going forward. You know, when it got to 33 was the massive. So between, I went right down, drinking, depression, because I wasn't doing all the things I had learned to, all this health stuff, all this sort of stuff. I wasn't doing it. I just knew it.
Yeah.
It wasn't wisdom. I should be doing this. Not. So that's all bad feeling too. And they just stack on and stack on and stack on. But then I had 2 Kundalini Awakenings, one either side of my 33rd birthday. And, you know, like, it was like 3 days. And my birthday was right in the middle of it. And the first one, so this was my spiritual, where I knew there's way more to all of this than what I had thought to, because I was pretty much atheistic from you know, probably 20 to 30 was trying to work out that it was all about mind and proving and all of this sort of stuff. But when you have the experience and you know, well, you can't ignore that anymore then. So you open up and expand fully, or you just have to do it too. You at that point, you know what the work is all about and what you have to do. My first experience, the one before, was I got a pain in the back, but this was, so I'd gone right down and I was at that moment of like just pure chaos. And that's what it felt like. Just pure chaos, where my mind was just trying to make sense of so many things. And it was that moment of chaos which, bang, it started at the base of my spine. It was just electricity just slowly creeping up my spine, but it was just intense pain. And it was sort of, it went up and up, and I just had to lie down. And then at some point, it was just too much, and I had to just let go. I just let go to it and went, okay, this is happening. Let's experience this. And that's really the key. It's how much we can let go and trust this beautiful process, because it's your soul that's catching you. You know, it's your completeness that's catching you. And when I made that realization, it just all became massively bliss and wonderful as the electricity went up and through and relaxed all my muscles. And bang, I was in this other place, which is the tunnel, as the wind picks up here. So the tunnel that people see, I guess, because this was, for me, this is a very similar to an NDE, a near-death experience, that what people describe and stuff. But it was my whole life flashing before my eyes, right? But in this tunnel, and it felt at first like I was falling through this tunnel, you know, falling in this tunnel, and my life, kind of like the Matrix screens, that my life just flowing past me. But then this is coming from me. I'm not moving. This is all coming out of me into the void, releasing all of this, because it was ultimate realization of those moments, because there was a theme. And the theme I was seeing in every single moment of my existence, it's been trying to get back to balance. Any single thing of everything I did was with that single motive, to balance myself. And I could see where, you know, sometimes it was, I would go towards balance, and sometimes I wouldn't. I'd go so far away from balance, but in my mind, my intent was going towards balance, always. Just one intent.
Mm.
And so that blew my mind. Took me a while to recover.
Yeah.
And then it happened again, but I knew what was happening and let it happen. The same thing with the spine. I went up and I was just, but then I was just in the void the second time, with complete knowing, just sitting bliss, beautiful for I don't know how long. and when I came out of that one, I had realized that a real massive level of anxiety that I'd been holding had just cleared, and I didn't know it was there. You know, that was the hard thing. I didn't know any of this stuff was there, but when you experience it and you go, oh, and right down into the present, so it was that chaos moment, and that was me coming out of that. And then from that moment on, I started to do all the things. Earthing, like we've talked about, pure water to detox, all of this stuff that I'd known, but also like and now up till now, these years that have gone past, because you know what started it as well, all around the same time, so much shit happened at that time. Like my father got cancer and all of this sort of stuff as well. So I knew the medical system wasn't right, and there was so much to discover in that. So I went straight into the medical system and discovered discovered viruses aren't, contagions aren't, all of that back then, and was trying to help my father, because it's serious. Now it's love. I care for that person. And then had to look at that on myself and go, do I care for myself? And did all these things for myself, you know, because I'd seen what I'd become too, you know, and it's not good when you're in those lows. It doesn't have to be like that. I did this to myself, you know. It's like Sonia, who doesn't do meditation or whatnot, but she stayed the course, didn't take on those beliefs that would compromise that, which is connection. She doesn't need to do the hard work that I need to do, or a lot of other people need to do, because we compromised and gave away our awareness every step of the way. But we can get it all back, and we can get it all back very fast by just stopping and allowing yourself to balance and seeing and realizing, giving yourself the time, the space, the calm, the nothing, to just realize. And that's how your brain works. It's not hard to think. People think it is, they're ignoring stuff, but it's not hard to think. You just allow the realizations to occur, which is full knowing. You just connect with your heart and allow it to happen. That's how simple life is. And what's their motto? It's life is hard.
Yeah, well, expectation, doesn't it? It gets in the way of so many things. People do things and they expect, a very precise result. But the universe doesn't work like that. The universe works in vibration. So you can get the same experience through a million different, scenarios. And that's all the universe.
Same realization
is the vibration and the experience, not the. It's got to be a blue Porsche instead of what whatever.
And it's literally disconnecting you from yourself. So you are just now in the physical. So you wake up and that's that.
Childbirth the other day, and the whole thing about when you're born they cut the cord. That's almost like that's the first step, isn't it? To cut you from nature, to put that adjunct in, I think. And like you said, everything is just
straight away from step one.
Yeah,
we're being screwed. Right.
Yeah.
And that's us losing our awareness. They're taking it physically as well.
Well, it's like you said about hearing different notes and being able to, when you train yourself, because I've been watching some of these reaction music videos, and some of them are vocal coaches, and you listen to when a vocal coach listens to a song and then they talk about it, I'm just like, what? That was in there? And they're hearing so much more than I'm hearing, and that's
exactly right.
They're aware that their awareness is bigger. So, this is
more tuning, more muscles.
We know that our vision is this, a spectrum like this, but is that that's what they tell us?
It's much more than that.
That's true. This is the thing.
You can see in the dark. We don't need light at all. Shamans do this, but we all do this. The reason why we don't do it is because they put light here. We need to see. We're scared of the dark, all this bullshit. No, there is no dark. No, there is no dark. The way your eyes work, you have cones and rods in your eyes. So when we're looking, like seeing how we're taught to see at the moment, how we're trained ourselves to see, we're only seeing half of it. We're seeing 95% cones, and 5% of the rods. So we're just seeing that cone.
Tunnel vision.
Yes. Bang, down to that. A rod sees all. Going through the tunnel.
Okay.
We've got cones and rods everywhere. Everything's cones and rods.
Okay. So
however, when you're seeing, and the way to train yourself is the opposite. So you can train yourself to see in the dark. It's actually quite easy to do. And it's something everyone should really do. I should get out there's a PDF actually explaining all of this I have somewhere, which they went through the testing and the experiments, because it was people that were working out how to see from many different yogis and stuff, putting all this, and Carlos Castaneda and all of this sort of stuff as well, putting it all together. And they just worked out a really easy method of doing it. And what you're doing is training those, so swapping that over. So you're now seeing 95% of rods, no light, right? No light bouncing off anything. But what you're actually seeing when you've built those muscles sort of thing, retrain that ability or allowed that ability to come back again, because we imbalanced it. So we just balance our eyes and our seeing capacity again. You will see energy coming from everything. That's the light that you're seeing is the pure energy flowing through everything. So there's that. There's two sides here, and we're going back and forth and all of this. So we're training that up, and we can be in the middle. When it's balanced, we can be in the middle, and that's a 0 point. That's where you can overlay it. Your vision has more awareness, greater awareness. You're just seeing more. You're seeing more So as we go through life, our awareness increasing as we, not death. When you die, that's when you stop. You don't get and start decaying and this bullshit. No, you just keep expanding and in awareness and knowledge until you hit a peak and boom.
So the rods, basically, we're supposed to be seeing through our rods mainly, is it? Because that sounds like that's
well no. So we can use it. It's a spectrum. People only can't control this and only have capability of this end of the spectrum. But we train ourselves to use both ends of the spectrum, so we balance that out, and we can be in any combination of that.
So the rods are
all
literally
of
the
that
spectrum.
gamma. Sorry.
So the rods are like the spectrum.
It's the other end of the spectrum, and it's like the yin yang sort of thing, where it's just one sided of the yin yang. Where we're only using it's like 10% of the brain or 5% of the brain or whatever. That's this. I mean, and it's the same concept with that as well, where we have a lemon and it's subliminal and about our awareness and conscious. But all we're doing in the great work is moving this line downward and becoming aware of what we were doing unconsciously, like creating the world. And telepathy, empathy, all of these things are subliminal, and people think this line don't move. No. You balance the hemispheres of your mind, and so it's balanced, and expand it in that balance. You're dropping that lemon line. You're dropping the lemon from your life. the lemon.
Did you say
life's a lemon?
Lemon, yeah, right. The lemon.
Life's a lemon. Yeah.
Make lemonade.
There's the lemon. There's the lemon. That's your point of experience, your point of awareness. So, and these are just realizations for me. Every realization I have, it's just how my body works and, how this place, how I'm doing what I'm doing. We're doing everything all the time and everything, but when you learn how to do it, well, now you have control over it. You're not just doing it unconsciously.
So
you have awareness over it, and you choose. Yeah. Well, it's not like I'm exercising control, and I don't have to. Everything's perfect and beautiful and wonderful if you allow it to be. Life is simple. So you're just having these realizations as you go along. So this is my point of, it doesn't have to be suffering and all of this sort of stuff as well. I did that to myself, put myself through all that suffering. Life is not about that at all. It's not about learning those horrible lessons at all. No.
So
that's an influence. Yep. We don't need to be doing any of this, going through any of this, and know that when you go forward, that it can be enjoyable as hell. It's bliss. You're moving towards bliss, so it just gets blissful every step of the way.
And I think we've been sold the reverse line, right? And of course, when you live in reverse, life is
180.
Backwards is evil, right? Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, like Lucifer's my brother. This is the thing. The way I see Lucifer, or the evil, or the wrong, or all of this sort of stuff is that I'm about to jump off a cliff and Lucifer pops up his head and says, "Hey, don't do that." Bad feeling. And you go, "Oh, thanks, mate. I won't do that." And we're just guided. What a great guide. Someone that can help me, right? Or a feeling, an entity that can help me if we are strong and not fear this as well, because it's the fear. We convert it to fear, where it's not. It's just pure understanding and knowing it, and then you allow, you just do what you need to do. You just do it.
Yeah.
It's like I have like 2 stories of meeting the devil, pretty much, because like in physical,
in school,
was a snake. I came up to a snake, and I realized afterwards, I had a massive realizing that, that's the devil, shit, as a snake or whatever. I don't know to what extent people will take that, but that's how I saw it.
Well, I mean,
afterwards, realization. But in the moment, I came in and I had no shoes on, and I came into the bathroom, and it was in the bathroom on the floor a meter away from me, and it was a Western Brown. So my mind instantly is, oh, this can kill me. But I froze because there was, and then saw the options. I chose to froze. I chose not to do. It was a moment where I had the choice. The choice, I was observant and aware enough and in the moment to see, to be at that point where we make that choice of taking fear or flight. But I didn't. I just waited. I'm like, is there more options? And that's that moment of like freeze or whatever too.
It's also, what's the right word? Sort of giving yourself over to the universe. Is that right? Sort of
letting go.
Letting go. Yeah.
Not doing what you're programmed to do. Let's take a chance. How scary is that? But not in this moment, because the fear was all of that. But when I made that choice of no, I'm not running away, because I could run away. I'm all good, snake. Or I could kill it. I'm all good. Right, fight or flight. I'm like, no. And then I got into a dance. It was a dance with the snake as I relaxed and calmed down, because logic was just coming to me. Realizations were just coming to. The snake's more scared of me. It only knows vibration. So if I just stay still, everything's cool. And it was like 10 seconds, I think, but the time was warped here. And the snake just calmed down as I calmed down. And then it just went over my foot as it slithered out.
Wow.
So, oh shit. But I was calm, and it was like, yeah, it was just love at that point. I was just like, yep, that's how this works. I didn't have to die. Nothing evil happened. I was fearless in the face of the devil, and I was earthed. And right.
Well, it's fear, isn't it?
And then the second time, the second experience. Hey, sorry.
Fear's energy. So when you react with fear, you're sending a message to that snake, and it reacts in fear as well, which is fight or flight.
If we feel that fear, we've already made the choice.
Yeah.
From a programming, from our subconscious program. So if we're observant there, we can now transmute that back to. But I stopped it before it went to that. So the more we do that, that's that habit of, no, I'm not going to fear. I'm just going to look at this. I'm going to be in the moment and see how you're in the moment. You just go, no, I'm not going to go off in those directions. I'm just going to stay in the moment. And your body, your energy is completely different. You're not giving off fight and flight energy to the animal, right?
It's not.
They're picking up energy, and they're just doing, like, they're just responding here. If you give fear and that to a spider or anything, what do you think's going to happen? Right? They're responding to that energy. But if it's just love, they're just going about their business.
Yeah. Yeah, no threat.
So I think we create a lot of what we see in the animal kingdom in terms of horrible stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the perfect example of, what we give out, we get back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you gave out fear, I mean, a brown snake that thinks it's trapped, with the fight or flight, it's going fight, So you would have gone, fear, and you would have got something to really be fearful of, like a big bloody snake.
And really quick too, right? Because that moment comes on so quick. That's why we miss it and stuff. So it's like, boom, you give that to the snake.
Yeah, exactly. But then if you don't do that, and this is the thing about, you were saying, life, they try and tell us, life is hard and wasn't meant to be easy in this. And, this is why people, I think as well, think it's a big task. It's a big, hard thing to change, because they think they need to learn more and take on more, but it's actually the opposite. You've got to,
and that learning and taking on is hard as well.
Yeah, well, letting that in, but that's really just your ego, isn't it? That's really your ego and your stubbornness, to stay, to say, oh, I'm right, and so I'm going to stay here just to prove that I'm right.
Ignore.
Ignore
the pain. Ignore the pain. Don't look at it. It's fine. This is what I've been taught. Ignore the pain. Don't look into it. They can't see the logic at all.
No.
Right. Because they're not allowed to, because they're ignoring the pain.
And in the moment they ignore it, but then long term it comes back to them. But then I guess when it comes back, they don't associate it with what they've done and their thought processes. And so it's like, but this is what they teach us, isn't it? Everything's random. You're just a random being in a random universe. It's all just random. Everything's random. Nothing's connected.
But that's beautiful. That's the thing. It's a flow. And, you know, there was one you didn't edit that much. And because you do those beautiful moments when you're allowing knowledge to come to you. That's what you're doing. You're allowing knowledge to come to you. And it's beautiful. Those moments are good to see.
When I try and get like a photo for I try and like get a screenshot for the thumbnail. So hard because I'm just like this all the time. Like,
I was trying to find one for the beard.
Look at the bloody.
I was trying to find one for the beard. I'm like,
and I'm just like, whoa, what the hell?
It's great. It's great.
Cool. All righty, I'm going to let you go, mate. Bloody earth. Good to talk to you.
Love your work. Stay awesome.
You too.